This is the Fifth Estate, coming to you from the Fort Hall School of Government in Nairobi, Kenya, and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, we will call former President Uhuru Kenyatta to order, and we will serve it cold and straight. For starters, he is responsible for the confusion in Gema. Yes, he is squarely responsible. Mzee Kibaki handed the Kikuyu nation to him intact. After 10 years, the Kikuyus rejected him in 2022. And the reason for this was simple. He failed to lead them. Because of this failure, Kikuyus will wander in the political wilderness, eating bitter roots and honey for 30 years. But there is another failure. Mzee Moi left our independence party KANU to Uhuru Kenyatta, a party the founding fathers had built for over 100 years. And in 10 years, Uhuru collapsed this national treasure without blinking. Even Paul Kagame blamed the failure in Congo on a mediation process led by Uhuru. Why this trend of failures? The answer is simple. Politics is about interests. And maybe Uhuru has a gold mine or two in Congo. Who knows? If a peace process does not serve his interests, he will deliberately fail in his task. And this is why the Kikuyus disagreed with him in 2022. If they rejected him, it was because Uhuru serves the interests of the Kenyatta dynasty only. Kikuyus are just a detail.
After receiving 12 goats of peace from Ruto in Ichaweri, Uhuru went on to tell Gen Z to demonstrate against Ruto. This was said in bad faith. Or was it? Uhuru told Gen Zs to demonstrate and protect their property, and that he would support them. If these young people have no property to protect, which property was Uhuru calling them to protect? If the Kikuyus rejected Uhuru in 2022, he now wants to be protected by Gen Z, including Gena, his daughter. He wants her on the streets? Really? Then in Mombasa this week, he laughed at HIV and TB patients whose funding was cut by President Trump. He literally told them that Trump is not your mother. They should expect nothing from him. His point, Ruto should raise the money to treat these patients instead of depending on Americans. But for Ruto to raise this money, he has to increase taxes. If Ruto increases taxes, and Uhuru has told Gen Z to demonstrate with his support, Finance Bill 2025 will become the mother of all battles. And that is why we believe Uhuru does not mean well for Ruto. I am a Gen Z, and I cannot talk back at Uhuru Kenyatta. But if I was his age mate, I would tell him, whenever an opportunity to shut up presents itself, you must grab it with your dear life.
This week, there was a court ruling. It established that the 2019 census conducted by Uhuru Kenyatta had suppressed Somali numbers in 3 counties. The Somali population in the 3 counties had reduced significantly in 10 years according to the 2019 census. Yet we know that that a Somali woman pops a child every year. The court ruled that the census was fraudulent and ordered a repeat. And this is where the intrigues kick in. If the Somali figures were suppressed in the census, maybe the Kikuyu figures were also inflated. And that is why CDF money to Kikuyu constituencies increased, courtesy Uhuru. Another thing, according to the Kenya Demographic and Health Survey, KDHS, the Kalenjins have the most fertile women in Kenya, followed by the Luyas. In contrast, Kikuyus have the lowest fertility rate in Kenya for the last 30 years. And so we ask, if for the last 30 years, Kikuyus have not given birth properly, like the Somalis and the Luyas, where do their numbers come from? There is some fraud here. Is it possible that Kikuyu census figures have been cooked for the last 61 years, the way the Somali figures were suppressed? And maybe the Luya and Luo figures have also been suppressed by Kikuyu privilege. And if a fresh census on Somalis must be conducted, a census on Kikuyus must also be conducted. This is only fair.
Ruto will win back the Kikuyus. And if you ask me how, I don't know how. All I know is that Kikuyus are practical people. They will not tell you the price of their potatoes 3 years to a market day. They will only reveal the price a few months to 2027. And to our surprise, they may stand with William Ruto. If Uhuru manipulated the Luya, the Luo, and the Somali census numbers, then the Kikuyus are exposed. More so if their numbers were inflated. When Kikuyus are exposed as beneficiaries of statistical frauds done over 61 years, they will wake up. And this will be the question in their heads. If we have been a statistical fraud for 61 years, what is our best route to cover it up? In government or outside government chasing the government? Today, they're in government. If they abandon William Ruto in 2027 in favor of Kalonzo or Matiang'i, their best bet in the helm of power will be 2037. Between Ruto, who has given them half the government, and the promise of 2037, which is not guaranteed, which is better? If Kikuyus are practical people, they will choose the shortest route. This is how they will vote Ruto back in 2027. Politics in Kikuyu nation is transactional. It is mali kwa mali. You cannot buy a Kikuyu, you can only rent one. The person with rent money, which is William Ruto, will carry the day.